Temporary special measures is the term used to ensure equal participation by women in parliamentary processes. These TSMs have been put forward now as a challenge for countries in the Pacific region to have implemented this year. A recommendation agreed on was for this policy to be adopted to allow more women in Parliament. And the key approach to enable this is for women's participation and leadership. Tok Piksa journalist Fabian Hakalitz has spoken with leaders from other Pacific Island nations who share their views how the TSM works in their own countries.
Papua New Guinea was the proud host of the Pacific Regional Conference on strengthening women's participation in parliaments. This is because Pacific Island legislature has recorded the lowest number of women in parliament.
In the long term, we will not need special measures to promote women, etc., because women themselves will find their own way of getting represented and so on. But in the short term, which may be for the next decade or more, for the next 10 years or more, we will need special temporary measures to get more women represented in parliaments. That's of course a discussion and a debate that each country needs to have, society and our parliaments and our policymakers need to have. But I am personally in favor of special measures to support more women, because that is the only way that we can get more women representing all of our society in parliament.
Papua New Guinea's autonomous region, Bougainville and Samoa are only two regions implementing the temporary special measures. Bougainville has created history as the only autonomous region in the Pacific that has implemented the Women, Peace and Security Strategic and Action Plan. All this originated from the civil war that erupted on the island, where women were at the forefront negotiating for peace, and first in the world with a strategic action plan for women in leadership 2015 to 2020, and the allocation of 3 women reserve seats in the Bougainville House of Representatives is a plus.
We gain experience. It is immature to remain on reserve seats, but to step out into the open constituency seats and even the president's seat to contest with men.
Because of the civil war, women have found some determination, and the ABG will continue to support the temporary special measures implementation.
Parliament can provide an avenue where women can come and express outrage in terms of the things that I want to happen.
To bring change in the parliament, I feel that we have to talk about them. And when we talk about a facial woman.
I really believe in working together, working in partnership with men, and that's where I got the support to enter into politics.
Samoa is one country in the Pacific that have proven to be implementing the temporary special measures. This is a piece of legislation the Samoan government is supporting, giving provision to women's voices. We spoke to Justice and Courts Administration Minister Fiame Naomi Mataafa.
It's incorporated into our electoral system, so everyone, including the women, everyone enters under the same criteria. The only advantage that the legislation provides is that if after an election we don't have any women, then the legislation will provide by recanvassing the results and bringing in women who have run and who have polled the ranking percentage, not the total vote. We're doing it on percentage because there are bigger constituencies and smaller constituencies. So, for example, currently, when we had our elections in 2011, only 2 women were able to come in. So if we had had our legislation for special measures at that time, then we would have gone back to bring in 3 extra members. So one of the unique features of our legislation is that the numbers in our parliament may change. So at the moment we have 49, but if then, for instance, no women get in, we bring in 5 additional members through our special measure, then the total membership of our parliament will go up to 54.
Pacific Island countries are slowly implementing the temporary special measures. We will hear from Cook Islands, Palau and Solomon Islands how temporary special measures works in their own land. We spoke to the Speaker of the Cook Islands government. Now it's a bit interesting of how Cook Islands government appoints the Speaker. But it's quite similar to Papua New Guinea's autonomous Bougainville government, where the Speaker is not a member contesting the elections. In Cook Islands, the Speaker is a known member of Parliament, while the Deputy is nominated by Parliament.
There's a lot of respect from the floor, and I also have a lot of respect for members of Parliament. And so far, so good. It's a job that the Speaker needs to be impartial and be neutral in your decision making, and it is independent. The Parliament is an independent institution, so where you recognise the separation of powers between the 3 arms of governance in the country. So as long as you are delivering your duties according to the rules and standards of Parliament, I'm getting better at it.
Palau's government is relatively young, that became an independent nation only in 1994, with 16 members in Parliament representing the state. The Center for Women's Empowerment is an organization that Senator for the Republic of Palau, Geraldine Sr., started, aimed to support women who have been seen as caregivers based on cultural and traditional views.
And so the argument that I've always been kind of around encouraging more women to go into public office since I came into office in 2013, so it's only been about 2 years, is that if 50% of our population is made up of women, 50% of Congress should also be made up of women. One thing that really resonated with me is that the issue should be brought to the table. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to start the dialogue on it. Whether temporary special measures are implemented is really is not the point. The point to begin with is to bring that discussion to the table. So I'm very thankful to be able to be here, to participate, to hear from all these women, and to be able to bring those issues back home and to begin a discussion about them.
For Solomon Islands, implementing the temporary special measures is a real challenge, and that is something the Solomon Islands government is working on to integrate this into the political party's integrity.
It's a really challenge. It's a real challenge for for us Somalans to really get the men behind the idea. Well, we have taken some steps towards promoting the temporary measures, special measures. Like for instance, I think we have within political party integrity act that we have passed last year, there is a provision in there that all parties contesting the election have to have certain percentage of women as candidates. So slowly we are trying to adopt some of the recommendations to promote these temporary special measures for women participation. Well, we still have to work on the legal process. We think that the temporary special measures alone cannot work. So we need some maybe legal reforms within our either constitution or our electoral act to really promote these measures so that we can adopt them.
You're watching the first Tok Piksa for 2016. There is now real competition in the airline industry in Papua New Guinea. Unlike the past, when there was only the national flag carrier in Niugini, today travelers have more of a choice. And where there is choice and competition, airfares and accommodation become affordable. In this last segment for tonight, we look at the success story of PNG Air.
From its humble beginnings, known as Milne Bay Airlines, MBA, then Airlines PNG, and now PNG Air, the company has grown from strength to strength, serving the people of this nation. It started 2 years ago, in 2013, where the Board of Management decided to rebrand the airline, the new name and visual identity to reinforce it as a company proudly PNG owned and run by its people. Chief Executive Officer Murali Siva said the rebranding fits the company's vision as PNG's next generation airline of choice and symbol of fleet transformation, people connecting people.
For us, PNG, we know how important aviation is, right? It's one of the challenging environment, and it's the lifeblood of the economy. It's very, very critical. People need to travel, when we made the decision to refleet, we had to choose the right aircraft. So the Dash 8s have been good, but looking into the future, we had to invest for the next 10, 20 years. So we went through again another very, very thorough process to select the ATR. Now, ATR is a very, very successful company. They have 80% market share in the turboprop market.
On November 4, 2014, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill launched the new fleet of aircraft ATR 72-600 to mark the rebranding era. The rebranding comes at a time when Port Moresby is in the process of becoming the air transport hub for Asia Pacific.
the old airline to PNG Air. And the design elements we're trying to symbolise everything about Papua New Guinea, and that's why we've come up with the tail design that you've seen, and also the strength of the design in that, because it's more important for us to try and tell the story about Papua New Guinea in a very simple way. So that's worked really well, and we've found when we've sent the aircraft around to the various ports, people respond to it because they can see they're part of Papua New Guinea on the tail of the aircraft. So people connect to it with it really strongly. And from that point of view, it's been very, very successful. And it's also generated a lot of positive support for us from the various regions that we fly into, because it's new and it's fresh, and people, as I said, people identify with it. So from that point of view, the rebranding has been very, very successful for us. Very pleased with it.
Here Atari and Nubla display plus balus. No got one big balus also in Pinipundan here before.
Very excited, very happy. You either choose from the New Guinea or
people are straight witnessing this partake one time this occasion come up here.
By come down with some mama sim just like to one them na ba mi black on sing na welcome in the balus. Na mi pili mama master all sem mi black pa mi black at balus la mi black.
Chief Commercial Officer Paul Abbott said the inclusion of the new ATR aircraft will not change airfare cost. The company's vision is to provide service to the people of this nation at an affordable cost.
It's our responsibility to make sure that we can make airfares accessible to people so that they can conduct business, so that families can get together, so that people can still connect.
Like any other airline company, safety first is the key message, and PNG Air has also taken on board safety as its first priority. That is the core to its business operations.
Yeah, for the last 3 years, really, we've been focusing a lot on the safety systems. They were always strong, but what we've done is taken that to another level. So we now hold BARS Gold registration, which is a measure of safety from the resource companies around the world. So we're gold, which means we have successfully passed their audits for 3 years in a row without any findings. We have had our air operator certificate as issued by PNG CASA, has been renewed for 2 years.
The first step is investing more on training and staff development. That is fundamental throughout the process of introducing the ATR aircraft in its fleet.
A very well-defined training program for engineers, the pilots and flight crew, for the ground operations staff in terms of the people loading the aircraft, for the cargo staff. So training is a priority to make sure that people are 100% aware of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and we make sure that they meet the highest standards as defined by PNG CASA, and also aviation standards around the world.
Excited as port manager. We have challenges. We also have exciting journey that we are now taking with this new strategy. The company management has taken this approach.
In the last 25 years, the company as MBA had 206, 406 aircrafts with 2 twin otters, and then they moved on to several twin otters, and they did away with the 206 and 406.
The ATR 72-600 offers the widest cabin in the turboprop market, new seats, more baggage rooms, and a greater feeling of space, plus reliability to get you on time to your destination. It offers technology exceeding current tactical, safety and maintenance requirements, and significantly enhancing operational safety.
And that's all we have for you tonight. If you have a story to tell, please contact Tok Piksa via our Facebook page. Thanks for watching. I'm Neville Choi. Good night.